Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Breathe Motivation. It is Wednesday. So glad to be back with you guys. It has been a long time. I am so glad to be back on here. You don't even know. I know I've reached out to some of you guys. You guys have reached out to me. So it's been great. It was 60 days that I've been gone. So a little bit longer than expected. But I'm so glad to be back. I wanted to come back right after the new year. And right after Christmas, I ended up getting very sick. I got strep throat and I had the flu. It was really bad. So it was about 2.5 weeks and I am finally regaining my voice. You know, for the last 2.5 weeks, I felt like I was going through puberty again where I was squeaking and my voice was going up and down. So it wouldn't have been very effective to deliver a message on this podcast. So welcome back. My name's Anthony Hester. I'm the host and founder of Breathe Motivation. I'm so glad, like I said, to join you again because I have really missed this show. It's really helped me out. So where we left off, it was episode 140. So it was right at, I think it was Thanksgiving was the day that I left. But I am back and, you know, let me just kind of recap the last 60 days so you can kind of understand where I'm at. So, you know, the last 60 days, I wanted to really kind of figure out what, you know, to do with the show and really kind of understand, you know, and take a break. I did 140 episodes straight. And, you know, for me, I felt like that wasn't that big of a feat, but, you know, it took a lot out of me. And I don't know that I really expected as much, you know, even though, you know, I expected to last 140 episodes or a little bit more, but you know, those expectations I had of myself, it really started to kind of drag on me because I wanted this show to be great. I wanted it to be awesome. And, you know, I was always trying to set the bar higher and higher and higher. And, you know, I kind of lost focus of the show and kind of why I started it, right? I am very hard on myself. And I feel like I've shared this with you guys numerous times over the last 140 episodes. But, you know, as I go through life and as I go through these things, I really kind of had to take a step back. And, you know, I wanted to take like 30 days to just kind of collect myself and kind of figure out what I wanted to do with the show. You know, was it stagnant? Was it, you know, were people still enjoying it? And people were, but for myself, I was so hard on myself that I was expecting all these things to, you know, kind of just continue to learn, grow, get better. And I felt like I did, and I still feel like I have, and I've grown a lot, but it really, you know, kind of wrap right back around. And I look at it and I'll kind of talk about this as kind of be the idea of the show today. So, you know, the platform, I was going to change it and find some kind of other platform. So the only thing I'm going to change, I want to continue to still do a definition and a quote of the topic at the end. So I'll continue to do that because everybody really enjoyed that. That was the feedback that I got in the survey. They enjoyed that the message had some kind of format and really kind of something to go, you know, start off with, something to learn, and then something to kind of send off on a positive note. So I'm going to continue to do that. I felt like that was the best thing, you know, from the feedback. I felt like that was the best thing, and it just feels great to do that. So starting next week, I'll like kind of just get right back into it. But I wanted to recap the last 60 days, you know, kind of catch up and, you know, hope that you guys are doing well. I heard from a lot of you guys and so glad to hear from you guys. You know, we've surpassed, I think it was like 80,000 downloads. So I'm so thankful for it and so thankful for you guys. And I can't tell you enough how much, you know, I loved hearing, hey, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And I'm so thankful to be back, and I'm so appreciative to have this kind of platform to be able to help people and reach people. And that was the whole purpose when I first started this, was to help people find their purpose and passion in their day-to-day life, right? So I'm going to do this weekly. Once a week is kind of where I'm going to be at. It's either going to release Monday or Wednesday, but I feel like, you know, if I want to get on and, you know, do another episode, I might do that because people said, you know, 2 to 3 episodes would be great because 7 was a lot to keep up with. But, I am really, you know, I just want to kind of, you know, have some kind of, some kind of format, but, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, this big thing where I gotta release it on Wednesday or I gotta do it on Monday or whatever, right? Or the shoulding on myself. Shout out to Dr. Baker. I love her podcast. So if you guys haven't listened to hers, go friend yourself. You should do that. But really telling myself I should do something is something I've kind of struggled with throughout my whole life. So I'm really enjoying this and enjoying the moment. I hope you guys are doing well. So that is where we're at, and this is where that podcast is going to be. So, you know, if you guys enjoy this, please share with your friends and family. That's the best way, word of mouth, right? And please rate this on any podcast platform. That would be excellent. It really helps me out, and I love hearing the feedback from you guys. So continue to do that, and it's cool. Of course, you guys can always reach out to me on my social media and my email and all that good stuff. I like to throw that out, so I'll throw that out at the end. So let's start off with the definition. So the definition for today is approval. So that's the belief that someone or something is good or acceptable. So this is something that I've really struggled with in the holidays. And I think a lot of people did. And, as I was talking to friends and I was talking to family, I think this is something that we all kind of struggle with during the holidays. And that's why I kind of wanted to do it like right before the new year, right after it. But I'm someone that has always seeked the approval of others. And, I really have these standards of myself, and I hold these high standards sometimes that are just kind of unbelievable. And, I'm almost never satisfied because I want things to be perfect, or I want things to go well. And I just want things to go, well. And, sometimes life doesn't go the direction that you want it to, but you're going to learn lessons from life and really understand this. But really something that I've done all my life, a majority of my life, as I started to, really gain consciousness of this, from a young age, I was always seeking approval, from my parents or my friends, right? Or, coworkers or whatever. And I think a lot of you guys probably struggle with this. And if you don't, great. But as we listen to this episode, I'm sure that some of you guys can relate to this. So when I look at this, I'm always seeking the approval of others. And there's like 4 things that always happen to me, right? Or the reason of why, I seek this approval, right? So I'm so afraid of people judging me, right? Judging who I am, judging my character, judging, just judging me as a whole, as a person, right? So I'm fearful of that. So that's number 2. I fear these ideas of these people judging me, or maybe people aren't even judging me, but I have this fear that people are judging me, which creates anxiety, right? I went through like 7-8 months of hardcore anxiety and panic attacks because I was so stressed out and I was so worried about what other people thought of me. And that really created, and your body can do the craziest things. And it tells you that, hey, for me, the anxiety was a lesson. The anxiety and panic attacks were a lesson that I have to really stop seeking approval from other people, because a lot of the stress was coming from work and, family and all of these things. And it created that, right? And another thing that I'm really worried about, or not worried about, but what I experience is like pain, right? There are people that when I get around them, like after they leave, I have so much pain and anxiety, and I'm kind of like, oh man, like it just feels zapped. I don't know if any of you guys have gone through that, and I think most people have, but you get around these people and you just feel this pain because, there are people in my life that I'm kind of like, man, things just aren't going well. And what do I do? So there's some decisions I've had to make over these years, and even recently, that, a lot of people will judge you for, right? So I'll kind of give you a little bit of a look into it. So when I look at, the holidays, I had some kind of like, family drama, right? We all kind of go through that, throughout the holidays. And if you don't, great. That's awesome. I hope you guys don't have to struggle with those things. But I look at this and, I always play in my mind. It's this little mantra. This mantra always goes through my head because I want to, it's break the cycle. I want to break the cycle, right? There's a cycle that I've gone on throughout my whole, like almost, I would say from my teenage years to my adult life. I'm on this cycle with one of my parents, and it goes in a circle. Things are good, things are terrible, things are good, things are terrible. It's like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. And as I go through these things, it really kind of wears on me because I want to be the best person I can be, right? I'm not one that wants to I go out of my way to hurt people's feelings, right? I always want things to go well for myself. I want things to go well for people. I like to genuinely think that I really care deeply about people in general. And, whether I know them or not, or, I have sympathy and empathy for people that I don't even know, right? And I always want the best for everybody. And it's hard for me to really accept that other people don't feel the same way, right? So as I go through life, I try to go, it's almost like, people tell me this all the time, is sometimes you look at life through those rose-colored glasses, right? Everything looks great, everything's perfect, you want things to be perfect, and naturally they're not, right? And I've always struggled with that because I want to believe that innately people are great people. or they're good people. They want the best for everybody. But as I've grown and I know no matter what I think or how I feel, I know that's not true, right? I know that people aren't always going to want the best for other people. Things are going to happen. People are going to judge you. People are going to, question who you are. People question your character. People question all of these things about you. And for whatever reason, I've always, seek the approval of this parent, or I've always seek the approval of my friends. So at one point throughout my late teens, so 18 to 20, I guess 20, 22, 23, right? I got married at 23, and that really kind of helped shape who I am today and really helped me to figure out more about me, because my wife really believes in me as a person. So she's really helped me along the way to be a better person, because I want to be a better person. I've always tried to strive to be the best person I can, right? So it's a struggle with perfection, right? Because I want to be perfect for everybody. And, I think everybody wants to be liked. And sometimes I never did anything to really just always trying to impress people to be the best liked. But there was a time period, my 18 to 22, I was hanging out with people. I'd go out, we'd spend a bunch of money, and I'd spend a lot of my money to, try to win friends and all that stuff. And I was like, no, this isn't the right way to do it, right? So I kind of woke up and I kind of understood that, people, friendships and family, they're all meant to be, you should feel good when you hang out and hang around them, right? So I went through this process of really understanding that. So I got so caught up in doing what everybody else wanted, I lost who I was as a person. And that's what really brought me along on this journey of Breathe Motivation, is I wanted to be able to help people that are struggling with the same things, right? Because there's a lot of people that struggle with the same things that I'm going through. And I wish that I had this and I'm sure there were books and things. I used to read books all the time, and I still read books. So don't think I don't read books. But when I look at it, I really wish that I had this platform before to be able to help other people through it. And that's what I'm doing now. And that's the real reason why I started Breathe Motivation, was to help people through their struggles. Because there are times that me as a human, guess what? I struggle, and I'm not perfect, and I'm fighting perfection, and I'm fighting, the seeking of approval, right? So as you go through life, you're going to seek approval from people maybe that don't deserve it or don't respect you. And that's where it becomes dangerous, right? You're seeking this approval that you're never going to get. And I've gone through life really seeking approval of people that don't deserve for me to be seeking their approval, or they don't respect me. So why am I wanting approval for somebody that doesn't respect me as a person, or even want me to succeed as a person? Or what I feel like is that they don't want me to succeed as a person, right? So why would you? Why would you want to seek approval of people that don't? I mean, they matter, and maybe they do matter, or maybe they don't even matter. You're seeking, this validation and approval from people that don't matter, that you really don't know. There are people that, seek approval from their coworkers. They don't matter at the end of the day, right? The only person you should be seeking approval of is yourself, right? And that's something that I've really struggled with, and to this day I still struggle with. I went through this process of really, with one of my parents, there's times where I have to kind of not talk to them because it's so toxic, right? It doesn't make me feel good. I feel pain. I feel, all this hurt. It's abuse, right? It's abusive. It starts to create this, this feeling within myself, and I start to question who I am as a person. And when you start to question yourself as a person, and you're like, I just sit there and say, man, are these things that this person's saying true? And I start to question myself. And then I was like, no, none of this stuff is true, right? So, I always live on the idea of you've got to, for respect, right? So in order to gain respect, you've got to earn it, right? You earn respect. To get respect, you got to give respect, right? And that's something that I really, believe in myself. And when it comes down to it, if other people don't respect you, you've got to be able to walk away, or, really set some boundaries to help people understand where you stand and create boundaries. Because that was something I've always struggled with, and is creating boundaries and accepting, sometimes that some people don't deserve these things to go on, to be in your life, right? Because it's creating this harm for you. And that's something that, I've always feared, is being judged, and, people thinking that, I'm some cold person because I don't talk to a parent, or, I go through these struggles. And, as I've done a lot of research on this. I think a lot of people struggle with this, and, it's hard. It's hard not to, because with your parents, you want to live up to, you want to be great, and you want them to love you, and that you want them to, enjoy you. And I genuinely want people, you want your parents to love you, right? You want to feel accepted. You want to feel, and even with your friends or your, other family members, you want to have, love, right? You want this love, you want the approval. And of course you're going to continue to try to go after that. But at some point it can become dangerous. And, that's one thing that I've decided to do was kind of step away, because it was becoming dangerous for me, because it created pain. It created this heartache. It created, and it creates, the anxiety. It creates this fear. Nobody ever wants to walk away from a family member, right? Because they could be dealing with their own things. But that's where it comes down to breaking the cycle. I can take ownership of the things that I can do. I've got to be able to take ownership of that. I've got to take responsibility of the relationships I have. And if I'm not treating someone right, why would they want to be around me? And that's something that I ask, why would I want to seek the approval of somebody that, doesn't really understand, or treat me with respect? At some point, how long do you sit in a relationship with friends, family, coworkers, if people don't treat you correctly? At some point, you got to be able to walk away and stop seeking approval of people that don't deserve the right to earn that approval, or you're trying to, earn that approval from them. So you've got to be able to become your own person. So what it comes back down to is really the approval within yourself and that love within yourself, right? You've got to be able to love yourself, be able to love who you are, right? You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But we've got to be able to love those imperfections and know that at the end of the day, in relationships, you're doing the best with what you've got. You're doing the best for who you are, right? At no point should you be in relationships that, one, if you're seeking that approval, right, you shouldn't be in a relationship to just hope that things are going to get better, right? You try to work with it. You try to set the boundaries. If they're overcrossed all the time, then sometimes you got to walk away, right? But you've got to be able to protect yourself, right? The only person that can protect yourself is you. Your friends, your family, your wife, spouse, husband, however that looks, whoever's in your life, it's great to get opinions, right? But you've got to be able to follow with what's best within, because you're the only person that really truly knows. So you've got to be able to earn the approval with yourself. Take some time every day to just have some me time, to be able to analyze your morals, analyze your standards for yourself, and really set realistic standards for yourself. I think going through the life that I've gone through, I've set these unrealistic expectations of myself, and with the perfection and trying to be the best person I can be for other people, when I've got to be the best person I can be for myself and accept me for who I am. And you're the only person that can accept you for who you are. Now, your family, friends, and all of them will respect that too. And if there's anybody in your life that does not accept that, sometimes you got to walk away. And sometimes you got to take some time. And then as time passes, I've reapproached relationships, right? Try to find the best thing that I can find and see where we're at. And then sometimes you got to go back and protect yourself again. So you go through these processes, but just know that you're going to get through it. But you got to be able to seek the approval within yourself, find happiness within yourself. And that's the only way to live life, is you've got to be able to live happy with you, right? Happy with your decisions, happy with your morals, happy with the things that you enjoy doing, happy with your standards. Create your own standards. Don't live by anybody else's standards or expectations of you, because guess what? You'll never live up to them. And that was something that I've always struggled with, was living up to other people's expectations. Hence why in the acronym for BREATHE, one of the E's is exceed your expectations, not anybody else's. So continue to live the best life you can live for you, and approval for yourself. So let me leave you with this quote. And it's a hardcore quote. It was crazy. I felt good about it. But finding oneself while seeking approval of others means the murder of self. So that's pretty intense, right? So you've got to be able to seek approval of yourself without really affecting who you are. because you will lose yourself. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Breathe Motivate. Like my page on Facebook, Breathe Motivation. If you want to, reach out to me, Anthony Hester at breathemotivation.com. I love to hear from you guys, so you can reach out to me on any of those platforms. And as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. I will see you next week. Thanks.